The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, good morning, everyone. We're going to be starting in about 5 minutes. Just wanted to make sure everything was up and running. So you've got about 5 minutes and then we'll start. Hey, good morning, everybody. We're going to start in just under a minute. If you can raise your hand if you can hear me, that would be great. Just want to make sure that I am loud enough for you to hear me. So Sonia and Tom can hear me good. Nina and Deborah, can you hear me? If you can just raise your hand if you can hear me. Awesome, Nina. Thank you. It looks like everyone can hear me. We're going to be starting here in just about, it's just 9 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and start. Thank you all for coming this morning. We are going to be going through IQ Web 101. So how do you edit your website? And I see some familiar names on the call. So know that this call is very similar and the webinar is very similar to the one we did last month. But we're going to go through it all again because the more you hear it and the more you see it, the easier that it gets. So in IQ Office, there are two parts. There is this part that you're seeing on my screen now, which is your website. And there is this part that is your CRM, transaction management side of things. And I like to compare the two of these to the restaurant world. I used to work in the restaurant world. I love the hospitality industry. And there are two places in the restaurant usually that things take place. There is the front of the house. That's where you walk in as a customer. You are talking to people. Your waitress is there. She's happy. She's perky. Your experience is great. You peruse the menu. You order your food and it comes out and it's beautiful. That is what this website is. It is an platform for your customers and potential customers to search the web, search through MLS properties, set up property searches, find information. Then in the restaurant world, you have the back of the house. And the back of the house is your CMR. And that's where people are yelling and plates are breaking and it's hot and it's sweaty and dishes are going into the dishwasher. And it's the chaos that makes the front of the house experience work. And so really the back of the house, your CRM function is where you're going to manage your people and create the experience and follow up with your people there. And this website is where you're going to send your client to do the shopping. So just by a show of hands, does that make sense to everybody? The difference between your IQ Web and your IQ Office? Everybody understand that part? You have to raise your hand so I see it. I've only seen Nina. Perfect. So we've got a couple people raising their hands. That is awesome. So to log in to manage your website, you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom of your screen. And there are two login places. There's one that says IQ Web Login, and there's one that says IQ Office Login. To log into your website, you're going to go to IQ Web Login. You need to make sure that up here, you are in the right spot. So your website is going to be something along the lines of your IQ Office ID dot yourcompany.website.com. If you just go to your company website, you're not going to be able to log in. So make sure you're going to the right place to log in. You're going to click log into the website. You're going to click log in, and it's going to open a screen that looks very similar. The main difference will be this big black bar at the top of the screen. So if you see that black bar, you know that you are in the edit mode. Also, as we're going through this, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the questions box. I will be answering them as we go along. And if it's something that we're going to cover in the webinar, I will just skip over it. And then when we get to it, we will. I'm hoping we can finish this just a little bit early so that we can have a question and answer session at the end as well. So when you've logged in, if you have never, ever touched your website ever, where you start is this design button. So you're going to click on this design and it's going to open up a screen that looks very similar to this. There are currently 30 designs in IQ Office that you can choose from, and you can scroll through them. So you can click on them and it's going to tell you the details of it. It's also going to show you an example layout of what it looks like. You also can choose the color scheme. So if I say, hey, I like this design 31, it's got 6 scrolling header images, or I can do a video as the header. There's text, customizable text, and I want a maroon theme. and then you click use this design. It will take a minute, it will refresh your page, and it will make that layout your layout. Once you do that, you see this little edit button in the upper right hand corner. To change anything on the page, you click that edit button. So I can see now this little pencil, and now I can change anything on here. Something to keep in mind is, as an agent, how many of you are agents on this call? Are you agents or managers? So if you're an agent, raise your hand. Okay, so there's a few of you that are agents and a few of you that are managers. So if you are an agent, if I was an agent, I would not want this find your office link on my website. If I was a manager, I would. So it is important that you scroll through and you look at everything, including this bottom section that has right now a featured agent. So I am going to teach this as if I were an agent. And then if you're a manager, just know that you don't necessarily have to make as many changes. If you're a manager on the call, and even if you're an agent and you're on your company page, this featured agent section right here, it rotates through. So it rotates through everyone, and it's a round robin system. You can change this by clicking on the edit screen. So I can say here, there's a top areas button. Then they can see that there's a featured agents. Well, maybe you want to have a top areas, and you have one that's a city, and then you can choose one that's a top area, and you can say featured neighborhoods. And you can say, I want it to be a community and subdivision, and then I can actually type in or select from a list. I can say I want Elko Heights, City of Carlin, and Heritage Estate, and I can push OK. Now I can see that it has instantly changed that section. So that is how that works. That is how you change the bottom section. As I go up, I also want to look, and I can see a social section. If I edit that, I can see here that I can copy and paste my Facebook URL here, and it will show that. I also can do the same for a YouTube URL. This is going to just pull one video, so you can add several videos here. You just click add another video, and it will add. You do have to have something in there for that button to work. As I scroll up, we talked a little bit about this grid, but what I want to point out is this green save button. If you see this green save button, you need to click it, because if your computer crashes or you exit out or you get a phone call and you haven't hit that button, there is nothing more frustrating in the whole world than doing a whole bunch of work on your website, not clicking save, and then having something go wrong and having to redo it. Has anyone had that happen? You do a whole bunch of work, you don't save, and then you redo it all. If you're not raising your hand, I know that you're lying. This has happened to all of us, and we've all been very sad at some point. So make sure you're clicking that green save button. These are what I like to call tiles. So if you want to change one of these tiles, you click on this edit button. And when you do that, it pops up with each panel. And you have an option here to change not only the title, what the description is, what the button text is, and where the link goes, but you also can change the photo. So I can click change, and I have the option to upload my own images, or IQ Office has several images that you can choose from that are free for you to use with the software. So I can scroll through, I can say, hey, I actually really like this photo. I want that to be in there. I want this to be know what your home is worth. Select IQ link and push OK. Now I can see that tile has changed. As I scroll up, I can also change this text. Very similar. Edit, type your text that you would like to change, push OK, click save. You also have the option here to hide a section. So if I don't want this section here, but I like everything else about the layout, I can click this hide button, I want to hide the description section, and now I can see that it is hidden. If I change my mind and I want to show it, I can say click here to show the description. It's really that easy. The last piece is changing this header section. So you can go ahead and you can change the header section, and you can say, I want a slideshow, I want a video, and this is going to pull up the templated videos from IQ Office, or you can insert your own YouTube video. So if you have your own YouTube video, you can do that as well. If you don't like this default video, you just click change, and you can say, hey, I actually really like this fall family fun. And you can change the brightness. So you can have it be very transparent, or you can have it be very dark. You choose the darkness. You also can say, I want properties for sale or for lease, what type of properties you want. Do you want a subtype search? Do you want a minimum listing price? So if you want the minimum listing price to default to $150,000, you can say that's what it is. And do you want additional fields? Yes, drop down or slider. And then I'll show you what this looks like. So now you can see here, I can say, hey, price min is 400, price max is 500. You need 2 bedrooms. I need 2 bathrooms, and I can search. Now, it's just going to pull up this search. I want to show you what a search page looks like. Notice, I'm still logged in, but this is not an editable page. This is something called a dynamic page. It automatically updates. This is what it looks like for everybody. And it lists properties in the order that they are for sale. I'm going to go back to our home screen because I do want to continue through the edit process. Also notice I did not hit save. So if you're testing something, please make sure you click that save button before you do it, or you will be sad. Up here you can edit your menu. So right here, it's going to click to offices or agents. So if you are a manager of an office, you obviously want your agents and offices to be highlighted. However, you don't necessarily want that if you are an agent yourself. You can just click here and you can actually trash that, and you could just take it off the menu. And now when I click here, I can see that it's off the menu. Nina, you have your hand up. If you have a question, just go ahead and type it in the question box. I want to make sure I'm answering your questions. If I don't see it, then raise your hand, but I do want to make sure I'm answering everybody's questions as they go. So that is, in a nutshell, how to edit your page. All the information here that has a pencil is editable. The next thing that I do want to go through is this pages menu. So as an IQ Office user, you have the ability to create your own pages. And what that is those can be landing pages or informational pages. There's something for you to use. So that is that part of it. So I can go ahead, we're going to click on pages, and I'm going to create a new page. When you do this, it's going to load a create page form, and you are going to be able to choose from several different things. So you can select a template here. I can select a template. Anything that on this template, these are something I like to call static pages. For those of you that don't know what that means that once I put the information into that page, it stays the same until I go in and change it. So a reason that I would use a static template page would be something like if I wanted to create an about me page, maybe I wanted to create a recommended vendor page or something like that. That information doesn't change that often. So I would use a static page for that. Maybe I'm making a monthly newsletter and I'm publishing it as a web page once a month. That would be a reason to have a static page. Your October 2018 newsletter isn't ever going to change. It's going to change when it becomes the November 2018 newsletter, and it would be a different page because you'd want a different link to it. So I'm going to scroll down because I also want to show you these dynamic pages. So you have several dynamic pages, and what a dynamic page is, this means that it automatically updates. So once you put the information in, it's automatically pulling. So if you're a manager and you need a page that highlights your luxury agents, you can use an agent template, or your new construction agents or something like that. You would use this agent. You could use an agent's template. If you're using an areas, maybe you want to highlight 3 featured areas in your community. You could use this page. I'm going to go through today this listings template, and I'm just going to go down and we're going to click next. What you have to do next is you have to tell us about this page. So today, for the sake of this class, I'm going to do a first-time buyer. First-time homeowner page. I'm going to title the page, Looking to Buy Your First House. Then what you're going to want to do is, in this description, you're going to want to describe what's on the page. So if it is information about buying your first home, entry-level market homes, things of that nature, that's what you're going to put here. Do you want to make this page available to everyone? As an agent, I'm going to say no. As a company, you may want to do that, and so you would say yes. Meta tags. How many people know what meta tags are? Raise your hands if you know what it is. Okay, so a couple people know, a lot of people don't. So I'm going to just simplify this as best that I can. Please know that this is the extremely simplified version, and that there are much more in-depth subject matter on this out there if you Google it. So Google, we all know, has a huge brain. Google has actually there's more information online now than any one of us can consume in a lifetime. So there's a whole bunch of information out there on the web. And what Google does is, when it goes out to look for information, it says, hey, Jennifer has this page, and I can see that the meta tags are saying that it's a real estate page about Las Vegas, Nevada, in this home range. It's been updated daily, and these meta tags are those descriptive cues that you are giving to Google about what your page is about. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if that makes sense. Awesome. So meta tags are what tells Google your page is about. However, Google's not just going to look at your meta tags. It's also going to look at your description. It's also going to look at the content on your page. So it's important that you have all 3. You have a good description. You add a meta tag that's something like real estate for sale in this county. You can add a whole bunch of them. First-time home buyer, information about buying your first home. You need to give it a category. These are almost like hashtags on social media. The next thing I'm going to talk about is this registration field. So is registration for this page required? Yes or no? If you are paying for leads to come into this page, the answer to this question is yes. If you want people to have some kind of registration feature on your page, the answer that you're creating, the answer to this is yes. You can nag them. You can nag only if it's a pay-per-click that you're paying for. The website's smart enough to know that. You can offer it. You can offer it only with pay-per-click, or you can force it, or you can force only with pay-per-click. So if you're paying for advertising and you only want people to have to register if they click through from your advertising, you're going to choose one of these pay-per-click options. However, if you want them to do it no matter what, so if you say, hey, I want this to nag all the time, the second time everybody comes, you just choose that way. I also think that it makes sense that if you're paying, you want to force it and you want to do it on the first time. We live in a land where people are constantly scrolling through their phones. Most Americans that are on Facebook, so like the 800 some billion that are active users on Facebook, are spending the first 20 minutes of their day on Facebook. That means there's a lot of scrolling through. If you could see me right now, I would be scrolling through on my phone, my hand showing you what the action actually looks like. But once they pass that ad, they're gone forever. So if you're not making them register on the first time, you're losing that opportunity for a lead. Then you're going to choose your lead source. Is it a website contact form? Is it a relocation request? You choose this so that you know what it is when they click through. So I'm going to say it's a website contact form. These are based, yours might look different than this. These are based on what your company has set up. And now I'm going to push, oh, and then the last thing is menus. Do you want this to be attached to a menu? Yes or no? If you do not want it to be attached to a menu, leave it as I do not wish to add this to a menu at this time. If you do, you just click here. You can add a new menu if you'd like. You choose what this looks like. You can always go back and add it. Yes, we're going to walk through that today. So I'm going to click OK. This is going to now open up the page. I can see here at the top what my URL is. Okay, so it's my website, First Time Homeowner. I can see here, looking to buy or sell your first house. This photo behind here pulls from your main header page. So if you don't like this photo, you need to change the photo on your main page. And now I can see everything that I want to go. So I can change the image at the top. I can say, hey, I want to go here. I want to go exterior, homes. And I choose the photo that is most like a first-time home. This will likely depend on your market. While we're here, please know that you shouldn't choose photos that you do not have the rights to use. Please make sure if you're not using realistic images that they're photos that you have taken or that you have paid to use so that you don't get in trouble with copyright laws. So then you can change here. You can edit this text. If you don't want text here so that there's less information before you get to the home search, you can just delete that text and click save. You can put in an optional YouTube link, an optional blog link, or an optional Yelp review. You choose this. And then this pencil is where you change the listing. So remember that this page right now that we're doing is a page for first-time home buyers. That looks different in every market. Do you want to show only company properties? Yes or no? This depends on your MLS rules and where you're using the ad. If you want it to show all MLS properties, you're going to say no. So you want everybody's. I want it to be residential. You can choose the location, so you type in the location here if you would like. Otherwise, it's going to pull from all the MLSs that your company is a part of. You can say, do I want it to be new? Do I want it to be reduced? Do I want a video tour or a virtual tour? What's my square foot min and max? This is very much like setting up a search for a property watch. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, the minimum price is going to be $100,000, and the maximum price for my first-time home buyer is going to be $225,000. That's a huge range. Yes, I know, but first-time home buyers come in all shapes and sizes. I also can say, hey, I only want active listings. And I don't want a short sale, and I don't want foreclosure. And then you push OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to now then pull all those listings that meet that criteria. The other thing you can do here is you can add listing stats. Do you want to show listing stats? Yes or no? I am a firm believer in showing listing statistics. Everybody likes statistics. What people don't like about statistics is figuring them out. They don't like, David, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the question box. People don't like figuring out what statistics are, and these statistics are pulling based on your parameters you have in your listing. So whatever parameters you put in here, that's what the statistics are going to pull. So if you change this, these are going to change. It's going to show how many listings are available, what's the price per square foot, what's the average list price, how many of them are in each range. So I can see that of the 44 listings, so there's 44 listings. This is listing stats for the whole MLS, for everything that's pulling. So your person can say, hey, I actually want to go to this much larger range and view these homes. thinking. So this is a dynamic page. As new listings come on and go off, this is going to change. And I didn't hit save again. Dang it. This is a perfect example. So let's change this just to show you what that price change looks like when you change it. Stats, yes, show. Now I can see there's only 19 available in this price range, and that the average price per square foot went up $12 per square foot. So that is a dynamic page. To share this page on a social media site, what you can do is you highlight and you hit Control-C and you go to your Facebook and your business page, and then you can paste it. And now you can share that page. That's how you share it. Once you're back on your home page, if you have not attached this to a menu, the way that you get back to that page is by going to your pages menu, and I can see it right here. If you decide that once you click edit, it's going to open this up. Once you've created the page and you've said that you don't want it to be part of a menu, the way that you add it to a menu is to go to the menus tab here. And you click on that menus tab, and then you can either add an additional menu, or I could add it to this home, and I could say for sale, and I want to edit that, and I want to add a custom page and the first time home buyer, and say buying your first home. Submenu of for sale, and I can say add to for sale, and now it's a submenu here. I click save, it's saved, and when I go here, that page is here. Last few things that you have here, you can go in and see your page details. So if you need to change your meta tags after the fact or your registration, you can do that here. You also have an option to go in and connect your domain and do that in this side of things. So that is, in a nutshell, how to edit your web page and create a landing page. We did it in 27 minutes. That's super fast. And I am open for all questions now. So any questions you have. Gerald asked a very good question. Will I be able to watch this with my daughter later as she is in class and helps me with my website? Gerald, absolutely. What I will be doing is, it's going to take this video, depending on when we finish, it takes it about an hour and a half to render. I will be posting it on the YouTube channel. I also will be posting it on the Realistic Users IQ page. So if you're not a member of the IQ, here's the IQ Facebook page. You can ask to join this page right here. You also can go to our YouTube channel. Let's see, and I'm going to show you what that looks like just so you know too. So you can go to our YouTube channel. It will be uploaded underneath the webinar playlist. So there's a playlist that's a webinar. All webinars will go here. And it will also be up on our Facebook page. David Falk asks, can we have additional pages for pending and closed sales in various zip codes? Yes. So David asked a really good question. If I were selling real estate today, what I would do is I would go in, David, and I would create a whole bunch of pages. So I would create one that was a first-time home buyer, one that was a closed sale. If you're in a non-disclosure state, your solds are not going to show. So there are a few clients that are in a non-disclosure state, so keep that in mind. I would do one on new listings between in the hot price range and in the high end. I would have different landing pages for each of those. And then I would go to my social media and I would schedule those out for months and months and months. And so because they're automatically updating, it's a great thing to do, David. I think that's super smart. Jennifer, yes, this is being recorded, and It's going to be recorded and it will be posted both on the Facebook page and on the YouTube channel. I would like, so David, if you want to point a third domain to it, you can only have one domain here, but within, depending on who you purchase your domain from, you should be able to forward your other domain here. Does that make sense? Yes. So David's gonna, for those of you that don't know the question that was David was asking, just to clarify what I just said, David owns several domains and you can point domains, and a domain is your web address, wherever you want. So if I own the domain kelseyfulton.com and I want to point it to, sold real estate 90210, I can do that in my own login. But I do think that these pages are super slick. I think that going in and creating a bunch of pages so that people have to register and then putting them on social media and sharing them and having it be information like sold, for sale, first time home buyer, for sale, ranchers for sale, foreclosures. We're not in a market where foreclosures right now are something that we're seeing nationwide, but as the market shifts, we're going to see that more. So putting that information out and setting it up now, especially as we're in the fourth quarter coming to the end of the year, most of us slow down a little bit during the holiday season. So raise your hand if you see a lull in your business in end of November and end of December. If you're not raising your, there's a few people raising their hands. So yeah, it might not be a huge lull, but there is a lull. It quiets down just a little bit. So what I would do is I would take those extra 25, 30 minutes a day that I've found and create some pages here so that when you're ready to really start launching out come January 1, 2019, you have these pages built. You have lead pages built to promote on your page. Other questions? Do you all want to walk through, would it help you if we walked through some of the other types of pages that were available? All right, I will do that right now. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to go into pages and I'm going to just create another page so I can show you what it looks like. Again, we can go through these static pages. You're going to have to create all this content, so I'm not going to do that today. What I really would like to go through is I just want to quickly go through, let's go through this areas template. Again, we're going to name our page. Let's call this luxury Of course, you're going to put in a description that talks about the luxury lifestyle. If I live in North Idaho, so if I were writing this description about North Idaho, it would say, looking for luxury golf course, lake views, and a lifestyle. Check out these neighborhoods that are for you, something like that. Do you want to add meta tags? Yes or no? Do you want to add it to a menu? Do you want it to be a registration page? If you are using this as a landing page, the answer is always yes. Neg, force, every first time, and I choose what it is so I remember when they register. Oh, and then it's gonna open up. I can see right here, luxury real estate, luxury homes for sale. It's loading. Edit page. Notice that this is always in Latin. That's because if we don't put it in Latin, you'll never change it. So we're going to change that photo. Images. Exterior. Save, because that save button is important. Edit. Here it is. I can choose areas. And here I can type in additional areas. So I can type in a whole bunch of them. Show company listings first, yes or no? Okay, so in my brain, I would always want my company listings to go first, because even if I'm an agent that is not, even if I'm an agent and they're not my personal listing, I would always rather do business with someone in my office. It's easier. I know who they are. I know we can work through it. I want people to see the listings in my office first. That's me. You can choose as you would like for that. What type do you want? You choose this as well. So David, the other thing that you could do, David asked about pointing zip codes and sharing solds. The other thing that's a really good idea is going in and creating a page that is just multifamily or just vacant land. If you have a page that is just buildable lots, and promoting that. Do you want it to be listed high to low or low to high? What's the price min? This is luxury, so I'm going to go ahead. We're going to have it start at $950, no maximum. Do I want it to be new? You can make it a page if you would like that is new listings within the last 7 days, that only shows homes that are listed in the last 7 days. We want this to be all. This is a luxury page. Reduced, virtual tour, open tour, previews. So if you are with a Coldwell Banker company and you want it to only show homes that were in that previews program, which is now Global Luxury, you can say that only ones that have that tag. I'm going to leave this as all. Number of properties to show. So do you want it to only show 3? You can say, hey, I want to show only 3 properties on this area page. You choose that. Golf course, waterfront, property view, you choose. Push OK, and it's going to pull all that information. There might not be any information in this. Yep, there is. So this is a demo site. So there I can see it. As this updates, it's going to go. If I were writing this, I would write about the luxury lifestyle here. I also would put something about things that people need to know. If you are in Coeur d'Alene and you're in a price point above $1 million up here, your average days on market is about 900 days. I would put that in here. Just so you know, luxury market in North Idaho, typical time on market is about, and I'd say 700 to 900 days depending on the property. And I would put about the airport and put about traveling in and out and that side of things. So really easy. All these pages work a little bit differently. The best thing I can recommend to you is going in, choosing a couple. So do a showcase, do a luxury, do an areas template 1 and template 2, do a listings, and create them to mirror your business. This is a chance for you to really choose what they look like, customize them to you, use the photos that you're taking or your purchase, and actually build them. Other questions for me? So I am here to answer questions, whether it's on this page, the home page. If you have any questions about IQ Office in the back end, I'd be happy to show you those as well. I do want to show you, has everybody seen what the portal looks like for people? When your client actually logs in, what it looks like? So when your client logs in, anybody can go in and start a portal, but once they've got a portal, if they have a home listed, you can actually attach it in the back office to them. It will show their listing statistics. They can search for a property here. They can create a new search, or they can edit the search that you've done. They can save properties. It's pretty slick. It shows your photo and your information next to them. They can also go in and change their information, so they can change their information here. They also can add stories about their property, their listing. They can say, hey, I want to add an emotional story because my description of my property is nuts and bolts, which it should be, but I want to add information. So this portal is really cool, and your clients can set that up, or you can use this as a lead page. So you can say, hey, would you like to be notified of new properties and set up your own watches? Here we go. Or you can set it up in the back by going down here and going to portal. This is where you set that information up. Other questions, comments, or concerns? I am here now to answer all your questions. Otherwise, that is all I have to go through. So if you have other things to do, I want to be very respectful of all of your time. I know it's Monday morning and you're all hopefully really catching up after a busy weekend. And so please know that you can head out and go and get some work done. I'm just going to be answering questions and it will continue to be recorded. David, do you have a question? Your hand is up. Can we set the search for new listings for owners? So David asks, you mean like a competition report, David? Or like where they're moving? New listings, but is it new listings like what is competing with their listing on the market or where they're going to move to? Perfect. So David asked the question, can we set a new search for new listings for owners and in a mindset of competition? So you can. So there's two ways to do this, David. You can actually go in and go to Property Watch and actually put in all the parameters here so that it is exactly what it is. The other thing that you can do, and I'm just going to act as the gal that I have that portal set up under, so hang tight real quick. So I can actually go in and I can see here, so I could do it here by Property Watch. I could add it and I would name it something like competing properties. Or I could go in, I don't know if you all have seen the seller reports that are available now. So I can go into my listings and I can go to the listing that is with that client and I can go to reports and I can actually set the competition here and ask it to automatically send out every week. So there's two ways to do that. You can actually do a portal that shows it, or you can actually set up a report. This automatically would go out once a week from the time that I sent it, and I can see everything that's done, and I can actually set all the parameters here, including the community, zip code, building, or map it. So yes, you can absolutely do that. Great question. Other questions? We've still got about 11 of you on the call, so I want to make sure Mary or Sonia, Terry, Veronica, Gerald, Janine, Jennifer, anybody have any other questions about how to use the system? There is no such thing as a silly question. I promise you there isn't. If you have a question, someone else has a similar question. If there are no other questions, gang, I'm going to go ahead and get off the call. Oh, when you do communities in mountain towns, is there a way to better group the surrounding ever? So Jennifer, that's a really good question. Where are you located, Jennifer? So Jennifer is in Telluride. Beautiful, beautiful area. When you do communities in mountain towns, is there a better way to group all the surrounding areas? So what I would do, yeah, I can. Terry, I'll go through that really quick, but I'm going to answer Jennifer's questions first, and then I will do that. So Jennifer's asking, are you asking about when you're building a page, Jennifer? So if I were creating a page and I was creating an area page, yeah, so I'm going to just go in and we're going to edit this page. So if I were creating a page, and there's a lot of areas like that here too. I'm just thinking, so if I wanted to go in and I want to actually edit this, what I would do is I would add the zip code. So I would type in the zip code here. And I believe you actually have to have a zip code to do it. I would put the zip code in here, and then I would narrow it down by price range. The other thing that you could maybe narrow it down by is if you know the area really well. Most of these are going to be view properties. And so I would put, yeah, Jennifer, I'm in a demo account, so I can't pull from your MLS in it. But I would put the zip code in and then narrow it down by price point and property view. That's how I would go around that. Because most of what you're going to want in those mountain towns to group them, you can say, hey, I want everything. So like up here in North Idaho, we have 2 zip codes for my entire city. So if I want to cover all of Coeur d'Alene, I'm going to put those 2 zip codes in, but then I'm going to want to narrow it down by, hey, I want it to be a view property, which eliminates a lot, and I want it to be in this price point, and then I'm getting those select homes that are on those ridges and mesas. That works. So Terry asked, can you go through setting up a property portal for a client? I absolutely can. So your client is going to set it up. If they're on your home page, your client is going to set it up by going to My Portal. So they can actually go to My Portal. This is if your client's doing it. This is not how you're going to do it. But your client can go in and they can say, I want to create an account now. That's how your client does it. You are going to do it by being in the back in your IQ office. You're going to go to your contacts and leads, or maybe to a contact here. You're going to click edit, and you're going to scroll down till you get to the My Portal section. You're going to add a username and password. So I'm going to see, this is Carrie Bell. Carrie Bell. And you're going to create a password. And then you're going to click save. A note about usernames and passwords. We all live in a land of like 1,000 usernames and passwords right now. It's impossible to remember everything. So if I were setting this up for a client, so Terry, if I'm setting this up for you, I'm going to go and I'm going to make your username something I'm going to remember. And the same if it's for David. So when you call me, Terry, and you say, hey, I don't remember my username and password, I can say, actually, Terry, your username is going to be your first and last name, no spaces, and your password is this, because your password and David's password, I'm probably going to set up the same. In the portal, there is no confidential information. So when I log in, this is just information about their house. It's not credit card information. It's not financial information. It's just home searches. It's just general information that's available anywhere. So I'm going to make all of my users have the same password, and their username is going to be unique. Does that make sense? Awesome. So that's how you set it up. You can also set it up and you can have it as inactive, and then if they log in, you can it will automatically activate it if they log in. Yeah, no problem, David. I'm glad that it was helpful. Do want to let you all know about the upcoming events that we have. If you haven't joined our Facebook page, lots of information here, training events, updates on best practices. You can actually go into the events tab. We do this webinar once a month on the second Monday of the month, or excuse me, the third Monday of the month. IQ 101, how to use your back office, is the second Monday of every month. And then we have all the other webinars that are coming up here. You're going to be getting an email this afternoon with a list of everything and registration links. So hopefully you can join us for more training. We're really excited about the new platform. And hopefully you're really working hard to build your business plan for 2019. And some of these tools really help you for that next step. I have no other information for you all, so you are free to go on with the rest of your day. You're welcome, Terry. No problem, Veronica. Hopefully you learned something, and I now go in and edit it. Please go in and use this information. If you don't go in and do anything with this, you're going to forget all of it, and it was a waste of your time. 20 minutes-ish this week.